Hello everyone, Kaoz here and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. Today, my General Graardor guide. Also known as just Bandos, he is the appointed leader for Bandos' forces in the God Wars dungeon. This video will focus on the range the door method, since it is the easiest and safest to learn, but I will quickly touch on KC with other combat styles. I will show you how to do it without taking any damage from him on your way to a valuable Bandos drop. Boys and girls, if you find this video useful for money making, slayer trips or pet hunting, remember to subscribe with notifications on and drop a like for the YouTube algorithm. If you're looking for more tips, join our Discord with the link in the description. To get into the God Wars dungeon, you need partial completion of the Troll Stronghold quest, or the easy combat achievements for Gomel's Hilt 1, which will teleport you right near the entrance. To access the Bandos encampment, you will need a hammer and 70 strength to knock at Graardor's boss room. If doing this with melee, either solo or in a group, a Dragon War hammer will do the trick. By finishing the quest to making friends with my arm, you will be able to build an eternal fire just after the obstacles blocking the initial area. It will prevent your stats and run energies from being drained right before you go into the dungeon. Finally, I recommend both the Desert Treasure 1 for additional healing after the main fight thanks to blood spells, and the Mage Training Arena to unlock Bones to Peaches, so you can bring tablets since all of the monsters here drop bones when defeated. Graardor is 2 of the 4 original God Wars dungeon bosses we can fight with all 3 combat styles. I will show you setups for all 3 of them, and to do that I recommend minimum base 80 stats to do more damage and have better chances at surviving. To camp this boss more comfortably though, you should definitely get base 90s, although you could try this with slightly lower numbers if bringing stat boosting potions. Generally speaking, Graardor is pretty tanky, so we need all the help we can get. I also recommend 70 agility because we will be running quite a lot. This time around, I will show you 2 melee, 1 ranged, and 2 mage setups and point you to crucial upgrades. If you want to try melee solo Bandos, the minimum gear goes as follows. Grab the items you see on screen, including an Amulet of Fury, a War Blessing, Abyssal Tentacle and Dragon Defender, Carol's Stop and a RedX Blade Skirt, Barrow's Gloves, Dragon Boots, and a Berserker Ring. Statistically speaking, our best in slot weapon here is a Fang because of its potent accuracy. So pair it up with Torva and Basori, Ferocious Gloves, and the new Echo Boots for both the defense and prayer bonuses. Like I said before, this video will mostly focus on the easiest and safest way to do this, for which we need a Bowfa and crystal armor. I know this may not be the most affordable setup if you want to give Graardor a try, but I highly suggest it to make it less painful. Take other items like your Assembler, Anguish, War Blessing, Barrow's Gloves and Zami Boots to protect against the Zamorak enemies outside. At this point you should be able to afford a Ring of Suffering, so get one along the rest of the items you see in my inventory. Just for the sake of variety, this is the bare minimum mage setup I recommend for solo Bandos. But keep in mind, you'll be lucky to get more than just a few KC per trip. Take Void Armor for both mage and ranged with items like Trident and the Blowpipe, and since we have more space in the inventory, grab as many healing items as possible. When you can afford a Tunic and Shadow, Bandos is a pretty chill place to camp, so if you don't have Ancestral, bring full Virtues, but make sure to keep the staple items such as your Imbued Magic Cape, Occult Necklace, and the Tormented Bracelet. In order to get to the God Wars dungeon, I recommend teleporting to Trollheim with a Teleport Tablet, since we will be rocking the Ancient Spellbook. Go down the mountain and then north through this passage, for which you need either 60 agility or 60 strength. Alternatively, you can use a Gomel's Hilt 1 to teleport right before the rock. Go through and then down the hole. The Bandos encampment can be found west. If you don't bring a hammer, goblins nearby drop them pretty frequently, so get one and juggle your items so you go in there with a full inventory. You need a maximum of 40 Bandos essence to go through the door, going down with completed tiers of combat achievements. If you don't want to do this, you can bring an ecumenical key instead, which you can obtain from the Wilderness God Wars dungeon monster drops. You can have a maximum of 5 in your bank, and when you use them to enter a God Wars dungeon room, they will be consumed. Just like Ziliana, the only plugins I recommend for this fight are ground markers and boss timers. You will find the tiles used for the Bowfa segment of this video in the Google Doc in the description. There's also a plugin called the Tile Packs, and it will give you a bunch of setups for Graardor, but realistically speaking, you don't really need any of them because none of the KC shown here will make use of them. General Graardor only has 2 mechanics you have to watch out for. Only if you're standing next to him, or if he catches up to you while you're running away, he has 2/3 chance to use a simple melee punch that will deal up to 60 damage. For his other attack, he will slam the ground launching a shockwave that counts as a ranged hit, and it will deal between 15 and 35 damage on a successful hit. As long as you kite him correctly, he won't even have a chance to use either of these during the KC. Reminder, this segment will focus on a Bowfa trip because it is pretty safe and chill, and we will see the other combat styles after the live example. When you're ready, pray melee and rigor and enter the boss room. Go north by hugging the wall, and then go right next to the altar. Let Graardor attack you just once, and as soon as you see his attack animation, click on the door. After you exit out of his model, click on him once again to attack him, and as soon as you see your attack animation, start running towards the red tile south. This is when you would pray ranged because the cycle is set. Attack once more on this tile, and then click on the red tile to attack once again. The moment you see your character's attack animation, click on the altar, and from here on out, you should attack every 4 ticks. Graardor's model lines up perfectly to set up the RedX, and by using both the door and the altar correctly, he won't even touch you a single time. When you defeat him, take care of the mage minion, and then stack the melee and the ranged ones together to use blood spells for some nice heals. After that, wait on the south red tile, and immediately after Graardor spawns, attack him, and then click on the altar to set up the RedX once again. When you make it there, simply repeat the process for super chill KCs. If you mess up, we are going to do something risky to set up the RedX once again. If you lose the cycle, pray melee and go right next to the altar to let Graardor attack you once. Then, treat it as if it was your first KC on the trip, like we did before. Click on the door, attack when you walk out of him, go to the red tile south, and so on. We swapped to pray melee because that is the strongest attack, and you can easily survive a ranged hit from him whenever he hits you next to the altar. If the explanation didn't make too much sense because I mentioned words like attack or tiles too much, let's jump into a live KC example to show you everything I'm thinking of when getting there. I promise you, it's a lot easier than it sounds. Okay fellas, time to do some General Graardor without taking any damage except maybe for when you go in, and of course if we mess up, but we have already seen how to fix it. So that's it. If you haven't already pre-pot, which I have already done that, but let's just go ahead and do it anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, protect from melee, private instance if you have the combat achievements ready, and here we go. Hug the wall, go all the way to the north. And then what I want to do is this, go near the altar, take 1 damage. I'm gonna take 2 just to show you this once. We tank 1 damage, and as soon as that happens, you are going to attack every 4 ticks. This is when we can start switching to protect from ranged. As soon as you see the attack animation, click on RedX. It would be nice to click on the altar every time and on the door every time you go back, just to build the muscle memory required to it. However, remember, do not click on the door when you are already near the finishing tiles, right? Otherwise, your pathing is going to be a little weird. On the altar, you can click whenever you want. The door, you could potentially do it just once. So, I'm going to be hitting every 4 ticks, and as you can see, this is kind of melting General Graardor, and I have not let him hit me even once. For some odd reason, spaghetti code works this way, even if you are right next to your enemy. Then if you did RedX on, him, her, whatever, then it's just not going to even attack you, which, yeah, weird, but hey, I'm not, I'm not complaining, of course. What I want to do is focus on the mage minion right now, and as soon as that is done, if you have taken heavy damage throughout the KC, you don't really need to worry if, right now I'm just tanking the ranger, not a problem. Because what happens now is that I'm going to swap to Ice Barrage, do this, and okay, so if I didn't land them, which happens pretty often, and it kind of makes me a little bit furious, just go ahead and do that, and they are not going to damage you whatsoever. You can stand next to the ranger, and I want you to heal all the way back up to 99 HP. I am going to show you how to deal with Graardor as soon as he spawns, and it's going to be even easier than the entrance. So Bandos is about to spawn. I want to activate my quick prayers, and as soon as he appears on my screen, I am going to click on him, and then click on the altar right away. And you just have to rinse and repeat what we have done so far. Every attack animation, you are going to click on the door. Attack animation, click on the red tile. Attack animation, click on the red tile. Attack animation, click on the altar. And on your way back, we do this one. And then altar. And then when you're here, click on the door. Man, look at how easy this is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for no damage General Graardor, and let's see what we get out of our final KC for this example. And that is, of course, absolute garbage. Alright, on with the video. For the melee method, all you need to do is hit Graardor once, walk under, and attack him once you're able to do so thanks to your attack weapon. This time, you want to camp protect from melee, and we will tank the minions through the KC to then heal off of them when Graardor dies. Don't forget to summon Thralls before he spawns to help out with chip damage. I included the bare minimum mage setup mostly to show it's possible, but let me tell you, if this is all you can afford for Bandos, there are much better things you could be doing with your time. Just freeze him in a corner and pray to the gods that your trident hits. Fun fact, despite the trident being a 4-tick weapon, for some odd reason, the Bowfa method does not work. When you get a shadow and you want to grind Bandos for the Slayer task or for the pet, I start the KC in this corner of the room, cast up to 2 freezes, and if they don't land, simply start running as you keep casting ice spells. When he's frozen, equip the shadow to deal massive damage. When he dies, the range and the mage minion will be close together, so you can lure the melee minion between them to heal off of all 3 of them to get back to 99 HP in no time. Go back to the corner to rinse and repeat. For extra tips, remember that if you're wearing a Bandos item, you can click on the altar every few minutes to fully restore prayer plus 1 point. Check your game chat to see how long you have until you can do this again. All 3 of the minions have pretty good chances to drop sharks and the chili potatoes. So, once you're comfy, Bandos is a boss where you could completely skip out on bringing food, and juggle your healing items in between KC for longer trips. If you deal good damage with your Bowfa, a KC won't take too long, meaning you won't be running too much. I still recommend bringing at least 2 stamina potions whenever you are running low on energy, and drink under 40 or 30%. If you bring a Zaros item, you can teleport out of the room by using the altar, go to the ancient encampment in the God Wars dungeon, get enough Zaros KC to enter the preparation room before next, and use the bank here to keep all of your Bandos essence so you don't have to use another ecumenical key. As we have seen before with God Wars dungeon bosses, their drops are absolute garbage, and their GP per hour is purely carried by their uniques. Without them, Graardor has an average drop of 15 to 22k, amounting to around 250 to 300k GP per hour. His drops are slightly worse than Zeliana, but offers more alchable drops if you bring an Explorer's Ring. What is better than Zeliana is that Graardor has 3 expensive uniques, although slightly cheaper than the expensive Armadillo crossbow. We are looking for the Bandos chestplate, Bandos tassets, and the Bandos hilt being the rarest of the 3. He can also drop clue scrolls, and of course that incredibly sought after pet at a ridiculous rate of 1 in 5,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and making it this far. If you did and would like to enter our weekly bond giveaway, tell me what your Bandos KC is and if you have gotten any uniques from him. Include the term RSN in your comment along your RuneScape username, and we will pick a winner on Friday's stream. A massive thank you to all of the gorgeous people who have decided to support this channel monetarily, all of which goes towards my starving family and my army of donkeys. If you want to be part of this list of legends, click the join button below to see all of the cool benefits you can get in the videos, in the live streams, and of course in the Discord. Stay tuned for the next video, where for now, we will go over how to build an OSRS account from scratch to get important goals out of the way and get into the fun stuff ASAP. I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.